Hello everyone, this is Christina Wallis. Welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to be making free form rose, so no cutters necessary. Unfortunately, as I'm making it, in some places my flower goes out of shot, so I'm going to try to explain as much as I can. Prepare yourself a master ball in the right size and then model the rest of the balls in that particular size, copying the first ball, and keep the rest of them airtight so that they thin nicely. You can go any size you want, however the bigger your petal is, the harder it is to roll it out nice and evenly. Also pay attention to this thick bottom of this petal. It's there on purpose, and later in the video I'm going to show you how to use it to curve up your petal nicely to hold your flower in shape. You could also use spoons to start drying your petals, although I find that domes are better. And once you've got to the end of your 5 or 6 petals, I'm going to show you, use your fingers to bend your petal further into the round shape. You can't really do it with sugar paste. With sugar paste, all of this should be happening straight away, or else it starts drying. But with cold porcelain, it's quite a good technique to give your petal a rounded shape. Also, I'm going to show you later on in the video how to make this middle. So as you could see, I am in the process of applying all my small petals around the middle. Now I go around in circles, although it's not, you don't really have to be very precise about your spacing, etc, etc. But what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to shape all the petals slightly roundish, so they give a nice texture to the middle and don't stick together. And then I roughly aim to apply each following layer above the layer before. Unlike with sugar, cold porcelain petals are easier to vein once they've been out and about drying for about 5 minutes, because they become less sticky. With some makes of cold porcelain is particularly important, especially the cold porcelain you make yourself. And this is a new veiner that I'm going to try. It's quite large, so see how we like this one, shall we? I am trying to shape my petal in what I want it to be. You need to catch the moment of dryness when it's still kind of pliable enough to be shaped and yet already dry enough for the texture not to disappear while you're shaping it. So yeah, it would appear that overlapping your petals in a correct order and a sequence right throughout the whole circle is important if you want your petals to look a certain way. So I've just done a circle before and I had to redo it, as you could see. And what I'm doing here, I'm shaping the position and the shape of each individual petal, and I'm marking here to see that where the circle ends, and I just kind of sculpture it to the look that I like, and at the end I'm gonna add one little layer to just kind of finish it off. And I'm gonna show you how to give a nice profile, how to shape your larger petals to give your flower, to give your rose a nice profile as well, to finish it off at the bottom to make it look finished. I just want to say a quick word to all my regular viewers. I'm really sorry I had to take a bit of time off from YouTube. I had a job to do to a deadline. I might do a video on that at some point, or on all these little jobs that I do behind the scenes. But anyway, I couldn't possibly, time-wise, I couldn't possibly do YouTube and that. So I had to take a little break, but I am really excited to be back because I love my YouTube, as you very well know. So yeah, and if you're new to my channel, I make flower tutorials most weeks I can, and explore sugar paste, but mostly cold porcelain, using sugar paste techniques wherever I can. So welcome to my channel, please subscribe. So now I'm going to show you how to shape a leaf to go at the bottom of a rose to give it a nice profile. This is why I left the cutout quite thick at the bottom, and yeah, it's torn a little bit, but real life petals are also sometimes torn and have little holes and knacks and things like that. So yeah, this petal, and I'm now further shaping it. So this petal basically would give it a nice shape, the finished rose. To take a few minutes and show you how to make a middle for a flower like this. If you'd seen my other video where I make one of these, since they're very common, please feel free to forward on a couple of minutes. If you haven't made one of these though, allow yourself a few tries before you actually get it right, because I find that for a beginner it could look easier than it actually is to make it. So you need to apply quite a bit of power to actually bend this wire. The size is 18, gauge 18, and then you just need to follow step by step what to reach to this point, the wire needs to be perpendicular to the head so that your flower doesn't lean to one side. And make sure that you dry the clay once it's on a wire and your center is ready to go. Make sure you dry it really well for a day or two at least, because you don't want to spend all that time making a flower just to have it fall off or start getting really wonky at the final stages. So be careful with that. Just to finish off my rose, I'm going to add 4 small petals. Now you don't have to have them small, I keep them small to just give it slightly roundy shape and a nice layering. If you have larger petals, they would give you a larger rose. It's just a different look, I think, and not so much as a rule. And I only have 4 to just give it a nice cup and not to start a new layer to be. I think 4 finishes the whole rose up nicer than say 6 would, but then again it might be just my own preference. So and I've shaped it as well. I've cut those petals a little bit so they're nice and rounded, and if there are bits that I don't particularly see, I'm pinching them a little bit to just give it a more roundy shape. And because I'm going to add calyx over the top, it doesn't really bother me the marks that pinching them leaves. And when it comes to calyx, I'm trying to keep the whole rose as a freehand rose, so I'm going to quickly show you how to freehand parts of the calyx, and then at the end I still go and cut the calyx out, simply because it's easier and quicker. But yes, if you do want to persevere with the freehand calyx, by all means I'm going to show you quickly how to do that. I just want to comment on why I don't wire my petals for the flowers as much as I used to with gum paste. Because for gum paste I would suggest that the outer layer or even 2 of your rose is wired, so that you could move your petals around to fit in the arrangement, or simply to kind of look more like it's got more movement to it. Because cold porcelain, when it dries, it remains soft. It's so much easier to arrange it each way you want, and so you don't really need to wire it most of the time, because most of the time as well the petal holds itself really nicely. On some occasions it's too big and then you would need some wiring, so wiring is not quite as necessary for cold porcelain than it is for gum paste. And here I'm demonstrating the final element of finishing this rose, and this also is very much for cold porcelain. With flowers, with gum paste, you just finish it off with flower tape, but here you finish it off with clay, and I'm just trying here to mimic how stem attaches itself to the rose. The seam of attachment doesn't merge as it happens with some other flowers, but it kind of sits on top of the calyx. So this is what I'm trying to repeat. And other than that, I use a lot of cream and just try to smoothen the whole stem onto the wire. Once the clay stiffened up, it's going to be attached to it really firmly, and once it's attached, you can't really bend that wire too much. A little bit, yes, but not too much. And the final touch here would be to just use a brush with some water on it to give it a smooth finish. I have quite a few videos with this technique used on other flowers. If you want to check them out, I'm gonna link up some of them in the description. And voila, our rose is ready. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you have, please share this rose on your social media. It does help my channel to grow. Now I'm going to show you a little bottle in a minute. This bottle is a fixative, just in case you use good quality edible dust or chalks to shade your flower, to add a little bit of color there. Fixative is what you use instead of steaming, because of course cold porcelain does not melt like sugar, so when you steam nothing happens. Now this is a cake I'm about to paint in one of my forthcoming tutorials, and also I'm going to review Modena, one of the best and most available clays, cold porcelain clays out there.